Okay, and if you guys want, you guys can all start going through the introductions and stuff while we get everybody pulled in.
Sure, I'll get started. So, my name is Marcello. I am the head of community here at Beast League. We are a mobile sports game on iOS and Android. Play Store, available in select regions, will be available globally very soon. So for those that are curious, we're essentially a basketball game, bringing you that fun sports, intense PvP action. We're mainly focused on basketball right now. And it's basically basketball, but with a twist where you got these little funny animal-looking characters. They're all awesome. We call them the Beasts, and they each one gets a special ability that they could use up on the court. So, we got an elephant guy who turns huge. We got a panda dude who speeds across the court and knocks you out takes the ball away from you type of thing. So, yeah, some fun action right there. Don't want to say too much though. I'll let everyone else speak, but super happy to be here. Love all the other panelists that are here as well, and excited to get into the discussion of collaboration is the key. I'm a big fan of collaboration, and if you're not, you're missing out, because that's the alpha here in Web3.
It sure is. I couldn't agree with you more, and I like the way that somebody had said yours is kind of like basketball with a little bit of Smash Brothers. I'm like, that's perfect. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see the game. I'm going to try it out. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next.
GM, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Oh, I think, MHL, if you want to go first, and then OBS, you can break go next. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Mark here. I'm a blockchain and tokenomics mainly consultant. I am the founder of MHL Solutions, a Web3 company. We provide blockchain consulting services around tokenomics development, tokenomics auditing, SAFT analysis. I am also the council member at Neo Tokyo, Web3 community, NFT-driven community. We love gaming, we love building stuff, and looking forward to this call.
Love to have you. It's nice to meet you. OBS, go next.
GM, guys. Super happy to be here. I see some familiar faces up here in the speaker panel. My name is Jonathan. I'm head of community of OBS World, and we are building, or have built pretty much, an ecosystem for car enthusiasts, for petrolheads to connect, unite, socialize, and ultimately turn their passion into some way of profit. We use Web3 as our backbone. Personally, I've been in crypto since pretty much 2017, so I've had my fair share of exposure to the space. And super looking forward to today's conversation, and looking where it's going to head. So cheers, guys.
Excellent. Thank you for having you. I don't know who is next, but Mindless, if you want to go next.
Love.
Yes, sure. Good to see you all again. I'm kidding. I do enjoy being here. I go by the alias of Mindless. I've been in the blockchain space for just under a decade as a career. Currently BD lead here at Style Protocol. We are looking to become the go-to infrastructure solution provider, whatever you want to call it, between games, between Web3 games, between users and games, allowing individuals to turn their NFTs into playable in-game assets, and allowing game studios and publishers to take their gaming assets and now allow them to be played in other games in this space.
Love to see it. Keeping busy. I see you in spaces all the time. I love it, my friend. Just so we're not talking over each other, because it happens. We're all imperfect and stuff. We'll just have everybody just raise their hand just because it's easier for me. And the next co-host can try to see who's got their hand up first. Who would like to go next? Don't be shy. Rami, you want to go?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Rami. I'm backline integration of XP.NETWORK. XP.NETWORK is a multi-chain NFT bridge. Today we support 30 blockchains, EVM and non-EVM, and happy to connect, guys.
Love it. Short and sweet, my friend.
Exactly.
He's like straight to the point. Who would like to go next? I could just start calling on you. Shahab, would you like to go next?
Yes. Hello. My name is Shahab from Los Angeles. My background is in digital marketing with brand strategy. I've worked with companies like GoPro, Tastemade, Liquid Death. I drove Liquid Death's Web3 program. Right now, I am driving brand strategy for Filmio and Unfuck, and I attend events, speak on panels, and publish articles whenever I have time. I've been in the space since 2014, and I love it here.
Well, we are so happy to have you. What I'm going to do, because I do have one of my friends here, I got Charles from Nifty Island. I'm going to actually hop off this device, and I'm just going to run it from the Samurai Saga device, and that way I can bring him up. So I'm going to hop off, and that way he can join. Just give me a second.
Let's go, Charles. Nifty Island. I love it.
Call that the old switcheroo. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if they're okay. A Wolf Swap. I think you were next.
Oh yeah. So I'm Juju. I'm the project manager for WolfSwap, which is a DEX aggregator, which is currently on Chronos, Polygon, Blast, and more chains coming soon. So I love the topic we're having because we're all about collaboration either ways. Thank you very much for having us up here.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you. And I don't know. Is that everybody? Did Astor talk yet, or Roy?
Yo, hey guys,
So many of us
Roy
up
here.
Astor, go ahead.
I'm like editing a video, sorry. But Roy Blackstone, founder of Shadow War, hybrid action 5 versus 5 title built in Unreal Engine. Been working on that for the last 2.5 years, combining sort of Web3 NFT aspects and elements with, all the sort of fun Web2 side. So that's a little bit on me.
Is anyone speaking? Please tell me I'm not having sound issues.
Yeah, dude, I think you're rugging. Somebody is talking.
Sorry, my bad. I'll probably have to have him just drop down, come back. Sorry about that. I think we got everybody up here. Charles, thank you for taking the co-host spot. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, good to be here. I'm Charles. I work on Nifty Island. Awesome to be here. Been doing stuff in crypto for quite a long time, and but these days I just work all the time on Nifty.
Yes, you do. And we appreciate your contributions. I've spent a lot of time on there. So, as far as the topic of discussion today, it was collaboration is a key. I've said it quite often in Web3, you cannot be complacent in doing this lone wolf thing. So as far as, what I want to really focus on is how can, collaboration really improve these projects? Can they build your business? We're going to start, and if you guys want, you can just raise hands when you got an idea of how you want to answer it. But, first question that I wanted to go into was, how can collaboration with other communities speed up a project's build times? Go ahead, Beasley.
Awesome. Let's go. I think there's many different cases, and it really depends case by case. But overall, I would definitely say, if you already got a lively community with other projects, I think it makes a lot of sense to collaborate, especially if the interests of each community is in line with yours or you share the same values, right? So, one example that comes to mind, I always like to see, we see a lot of different types of collaborations, but for instance, if somebody really enjoys a first-person shooter type of game, I don't think it's too far of an idea to collaborate with other first-person shooters, and we see it all the time when it comes to spaces, for instance, just in general, other people in the space, and it doesn't even always have to be the same genre either. I just think I'm a big fan of cross promoting between communities, and I think that if you already have a lively community that all around people enjoy playing fun games or they just enjoy the people part of that community, I think that if you have another valuable community that has something good going on, they might not even know about it until you collaborate with them. So I think it's really important to kind of find other projects or other games that are kind of doing some stuff that you really enjoy. And I think that if they really like what you're cooking, I think that there's a lot of benefit in working together with others. And again, that could come in many different ways, whether it's campaigns or, even just Twitter spaces. I think that for myself, with every project that I've worked with, I've really stepped it up with Twitter Spaces because I think that that's probably one of the best ways to kind of get the word out. And it's like, look at this beautiful panel we have here. You know, we got almost a dozen, almost a dozen projects here, and each and every one of us have our own communities. And it's like, okay, someone who might have never heard of Beast League might discover Beast League through being on a panel with Shadow War or with Nifty Island or with Satoshi Universe or OBS World, or the list goes on, right, with all the amazing projects that are here. So there's a lot there, and definitely Twitter Spaces is one way when it comes with collaborations, but there's just so many other ways of doing it too, right? But overall, I think bringing communities together is probably one of the best ways to just grow in the space, get your word out, and people will find out about you organically that way. And sometimes it's just with the vibe that you give out. Somebody might resonate with something I say on this space, and it's like, oh, yo, I really liked what they had to say. I'm going to check them out. And then that instantaneously gets to like, oh, okay, their game's on the App Store. Let me try that out. And then let me jump into their Discord. And then suddenly you're building friendships and you're building relationships with other people from this community and vice versa. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You get the more it's kind of like growing a tree. Trees they got their trunk, but they also have their branches, and those branches have leaves and stuff. So, and it keeps growing, keeps expanding. And the more that you spend time on spaces and the more that you meet people, the more you start to really get those good roots too. So having good roots with some good communities is always a good thing, because when they do go out and about and maybe they meet somebody, it's like maybe they don't directly, connect with your project, but they're like, hey, I actually know somebody that I want you to meet. And it opens up amazing doors for you to meet so many people that you just normally would have never have ran into. Wolf, go ahead.
Yeah, I was also going to say, like, one of the ways where collaboration helps speed up a project is, spaces, like BC said. Then also, like, the point where, you have a project having something you might need and you necessarily don't have it at that point in time in your project. Collaborating between projects helps, like, move that a lot faster, because I've seen that in like scenarios where personally I've worked with gaming projects. So a good example is, when there was this project I worked with, so we got reached out to by a metaverse project. Like on their project, they have the whole land, they have assets, things like that. But our project was just basically, the avatars, the game, like the first person shooter kind of thing. So while the game was being developed and people were waiting for that, they got access to play with the avatars on those metaverse, on the lands, while they wait for the game. So that's a good example of collaboration. And, also there's also a scenario where we see communities, using tools where you get to use bots to engage the community through raids, whatever it is. And a good example of that is Flipguard. So they have their own community as well. They build out their own bot. So having to do that on your own again is just like, you're basically building out something that already exists. So why do that when you could just simply collaborate with the other community and, simply just use their tools? It helps get things moving a lot faster. So these are just like perfect examples, and I just wanted to put that in.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I look at it's not easy building a game. It's not easy building anything, because we're all navigating new waters. But it's like I look at some they've been in a bunch of our spaces and they're definitely in the network. But I look at Layer 1X, they're solving a lot of problems that almost any community stumbles across. So I think what they're building is definitely revolutionary. I don't know everything about Nifty Island, but I've spent a lot of time with it. I did want to ask you, Charles, what's something that you've seen because of the collaborations that it's moved the needle in the right position north to make a lot of doors open for Nifty Island when it comes to maybe opening up larger player counts or just collaborations with different communities out there? Because you guys have a lot. I would say there's 100. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's about 400 communities that have integrated into Nifty now. So we definitely have a lot of data points on what that can look like. I think there's a bunch of things we see. So in-game events and giveaways are great. I think people are looking to do giveaways, but they're looking for ways to do them that are fun, Sybil resistant, and that kind of generates cool content. And so these happen all the time. Just most recently, there's a meme coin community called Smole that is doing a time trial contest with pretty considerable prizes. They're selling a pass to participate in it. And that one's been great just this week. So yeah, events, and quests and like challenges where people are giving away inventory is great, like giving away NFTs or tokens or other prizes. So those are solid. And then, I mean, other things like we have a lot, the avatar library that we have is largely sourced from, third parties, and it's like somewhere around 200,000 token gated avatars in the game. And we made some of those, but it's a fraction of them that we made. So that's also huge. Like with the diversity of avatars you see in game is a product of all the community collaborations. And then we have like NFT rewards in the marketplace, which now are created largely by third parties. So lots of NFT projects have created NFT based rewards that you can earn by playing in the game. So that's been great. And then, I mean, all the promotional stuff they do with us too is super helpful. So yeah, I mean, there's just so much, that comes from leveraging the fact that we're on a big composable kind of shared ledger, and, all these things can interoperate.
Yeah, and like, you know what the good thing is? For the longest time, you see a lot of communities that I wouldn't say it's not that they don't get along, they just don't talk to each other. But it's awesome to see all of us have a passion and a love for gaming. And so a lot of communities, like I was never close to anybody in Pudgy Penguins or Sappy Seals or anything like that. And now a lot of them are very close friends with me. And it's so cool to see so many different communities meeting up and not just playing the game, but like talking about business, talking about how they can expand things. That's what this is all about. Like Web3 is all about, like collaboration, you know? So, I'd like to know if anybody else has seen something that they've been able to do through collaboration to speed up their process with the build of their product. Go ahead, Astra.
Hey there. Hey, thanks for having me here. Sorry I didn't get to do an intro earlier. My Twitter was a bit buggy, so yeah, apologies for that. My name is Faizi, or you can call me DG. I'm the co-founder of Astronova. We're essentially building Saudi Arabia's first Web3 RPG game with the focus on the MENA and the Southeast Asian gaming audience. It's more or less a God of War style game, so very action, combat-oriented game. It's built on Unreal Engine, and I can say that collaboration is kind of the key to how we have progressed so far. This includes collaboration on various levels. This, for example, many projects they do. I'm not sure about the current scenario, but when we started, it was like late in 2020. So we had like we had to go and get into touch with the Unreal and Epic Games team, where we were based out of, and they gave us a lot of support for our game devs. In fact, if you guys are aware, like especially in Saudi and India specifically, the ratio of Unreal Engine developers is extremely low. There's more Unity devs. So they had an initiative and campaign to give free training to devs, which was very beneficial for our teammates, and that actually helped, in onboarding even some different types of devs into our team, and that helped in, of course, building our product out in our early days. So that's one thing. Then another one which comes to the top of my mind is our NVIDIA Inception program one. That's a big boom. So for GameFi projects, especially with NVIDIA doing, performing so well, that was a major plus, something which we got in 2 years back. But it seemed to be something amazing for us, and it brought a lot of interest, credibility, and trustworthiness for the project. by being part of that program. And it, of course, opened up a lot of doors in terms of other collaboration with other GameFi projects, as well as the Inception partners, which is part of that cohort. So what I can say is definitely that it adds value to projects and spaces like this. Definitely, I agree with them, and it's very useful because compared to the Web 2, in traditional industry, it's so hard to do partnership. Compared to that, Web 3 partnerships is much easier. We move fast. I like it, and I think folks over here. I do see a few familiar faces from yesterday's space, so I think folks over here and guys who want to build stuff in this market, we're definitely in the right sector, and we can definitely get down, talk business, and see how we can add value to each other.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think for me, it's kind of like a divide and conquer thing. Like Gion's our founder. I'm just on the team, but it's like we love to go out and network and meet new people, tell them about our game. And it's like, it's so comforting when somebody's just like, wow, you guys got something really special here. And it's like, that's a great feeling because you've been building for such a long time. Almost everybody I talk to is like been building, they've been building for a couple of years now. It's not easy to build a game in 6 months. It takes years. It takes time. So I love to see the hard work and the willpower that people have put in all this time through the bear market to bring something to fruition in the bull market where they can really shine and people can really expand on what they've already done. MHL, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great take, but I think collaboration can't be just limited. Well, we usually use it as reference or example, collaboration among Web3 communities or Web3 projects. But I think it can be extended also to service providers such as myself. I launched my business a year and a half ago. I was already providing advices to founders and projects out there, but when I started building collaborations, so bringing my network into business with me, I started really making a lot of money. That's because actually when you do offer the opportunity to other people like yourself who are building something, who are providing a service to come together and find clients together and also refer clients to each other. That's a good way, in my opinion, to collaborate and also make sure that the collaboration is profitable. And so I like to take it as an example because in first place I've been benefiting a lot from it, as 90% of my clients, they come from partners of mine, and I have big partners who are leading the space. But the thing is, it's not just about having their logo on the website. It's about also knowing the partner. It's about talking with them every day, because the closer you get with them, the better it is actually, because you build that sort of a rapport, that sort of a friendship there, which is, in my opinion, needed in the Web3 space, as we kind of hide behind these PFPs. So my take is absolutely collaboration is a key, and not only for communities, but I'd say for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely, I can vibe with that. And it's, I think one of the other things is a welcoming approach. You can't come in, like, I don't have a problem with the Bitcoin community, but I've noticed in Web3, when you join like a Bitcoin community or an Ordinals community, sometimes it can come off very brash. If you're not approachable, do you really think people are going to want to join what you're doing? No. You have to be a approachable person. Why do we like going to certain places like Disney World or Universal Studios? It's nice. It's fun. People are nice. Why do you like going to Chick-fil-A? The food's great, but the people are nice, right? You get good customer service. It's the same. If we're representing our companies, it's only natural that it should be welcoming. And that's the thing. How are we going to onboard anybody to Web 2, from Web 2 to Web 3, if we're not really having a welcoming ecosystem? Roy or Rami, did you guys want to touch on the subject at all?
I had some thoughts on this. If I can speak maybe a little bit. I was having a recent conversation on another space about a week ago, and it was basically about sort of like competition, whereas I think this one is more about collaboration. But I think the point about competition, or the question was like, is there like competition in the space? Should we all be competing against each other? And I think the takeaway was that no, not really, right? Because we are in such a blue ocean in terms of, how many Web3 players really exist. Not many, compared to the sort of future Web3 cohort. How many people are really building in the space? How many projects are there? Like, you got maybe a few hundred. You compare that to Web2, you got thousands and thousands, tens of thousands even, games released like every single year. We're nowhere near that. So there's a rising addressable market, of course. There's rising sort of, people entering the space. There's more sort of going around. It's not a zero-sum game. And so, sometimes I see like, this might be, I don't know, let me just make a straw man here. This might be like a Web3 checkers. And, there's another project that's like Web3 checkers. Actually, it would be great if those two projects work together. They're not competitors. They're not competing with each other. They both want to succeed. Like, do a Web3 checkers tournament. Like, which community is the best at Web3 checkers? Like, do that. I think, there is no such thing as like hard direct competition. Like, we're all on the same team, and, even if we're making literally the exact same game, we are on the same team. We're not competing with each other. And so I think everyone can collaborate and add and bring something to the table. And if you do, that makes the entire space better. It's better for the gamers. It's better for the listeners. It's better for everyone else. So yeah, that's sort of my mentality and take on that.
I couldn't agree more. That was perfectly well said and funny as well. Mindless, did you want to touch on the subject? Yeah, go ahead, Mindless.
Hey, thanks, man. God, put my hand up and fell off stage. How embarrassing. I have a very simple approach to this, I think, and I believe it was Charles' point earlier. This is a very, very small space. It still is, and it's going to be for several years. And I think the last thing we want to do is to build in echo chambers or silos. So if there's any way, projects, founders, games, studios, platforms, exchanges, can utilize the audiences and sort of conglomerate them together in some way, shape or form, or even at specific touch points, it will go a long, long way. This is already such a small space. I don't think it does anybody good to build in sorts of ways that traditional social media does, where it likes to try to take everything and leave nothing behind. For such a small industry, that's very damaging. And also, similarly, when sharing resources as projects and teams, ideas, collaborating, cross-promoting, cross-collaborating, hosting community events, there's so much in this space that just due to how small it is can go a long way. It's some of these very, very small actions. It can be just as simple as tweeting something of a friendly project that you're associated with. That's all. They may be 10 times smaller than you, but that one tweet can bring in, an extra 10% of audience size that they probably would never have had, right? This is the only way we grow the pie here. I think to go back to some of the earlier philosophies of like Vitalik and CZ from Binance, and that is that we should be focused at growing the entire pie at the moment as opposed to trying to carve out slices at this stage of the industry. It's just not mature enough.
Sorry, my sound cut out for a second there. Yeah, the industry just hasn't grown as much yet, so we're still new. But I can say this much: these rooms are going to be so freaking packed in the next couple of months with not just investors, but people that are shoveling into Web3. So I want to make sure that we're not only welcoming them, but they need to know that we're all tight knit and we're not like out for each other's throats. And I think most of us are. We've all become like really good friends. I think we've really found a good group of people that do want to work together, and they are looking to make Web3 a better experience for everyone all together. So I know I'm personally really proud of what some of these projects have built out in such a small amount of time. It's with such small teams, and you do see the passion behind it. You see how excited they are for what they've built. I did kind of want to like move on to the next topic, and that's going to be has Web3's gaming broken through Web2's gaming wall when it comes to interoperability? And who would like to touch on that?
What do you mean by interoperability?
What I mean is, can I potentially take a character from my game, or perhaps an item, whether it's an NFT, music, and can I put it into another game? Go ahead, Mindless.
Oh, this is a good one. It's kind of right up my alley here. The way I see it,
Protocol.
yeah, a soft shell. But the way I see it, we've inherited the Web 2 gaming space, along with its traditional issues and problems and limitations. And then we've added a whole bunch of Web 3 problems and limitations on top of it. We haven't quite resolved anything. In fact, if anything, we've made things worse, incredibly far more so. And that's where we're stuck at the moment. So now we're having to try and navigate this quagmire, and various teams and protocols and projects are trying to do that in their own ways. We're obviously trying to do it in a way that we think, could put a sizable dent in that, but it just requires lots and lots of time and man hours and effort and labor, essentially. It's like, we sort of thought that, or we understood that it's kind of like an indexing problem in a way, where you need all of these assets created physically by a person and machine and AI in some way, and indexed and sorted, and uploaded somewhere where studios and game developers can use them, and similarly, the users can also make use of them. If anybody is familiar with the gaming space, you might know of something like a Unity asset store or the Unreal Engine equivalent, where there's a ton of these gaming assets that are created and anybody can use them. Well, we need a Web3 version sort of like that, that's related to NFTs, that then anybody can pull from, or any game studio can pull from. And until we get there, you're really not going to have that sort of interoperability where you can like take assets between gaming ecosystems. It's a very, very tough problem. It's going to need millions and millions of man hours, but we have an approach towards that, which we think might sort of get to a point where we solve that type of problem. But this is just one problem. There's a lot more.
I think that's the thing. As time progresses, and as all of us in the gaming community are more collaborative, I think all of us are going to collectively come across the issues, the problems, and be like, hey, I figured this out. Were you guys having this issue with introducing this type of build into the Unity system? Yeah, you can try this, but try it on, there's different protocols and stuff for uploading assets or like different files and stuff like that. So I think pretty soon you're going to start seeing more and more companies kind of like almost file down to like fit each one's niche, and we're all going to be hitting larger, whether it's metaverses or whatever our game type is. You're going to start seeing more and more kind of siphon down and find our niche audience, and also find our niche builds, so we can all kind of work together under one roof. And we're already starting to see it now, and it's really encouraging, because there's some really big games coming out, and it's nice to be a part of some good ones. Moving on to the next question. One thing I wanted to ask, and this was kind of going in line with what I was talking about earlier, but should there be a focus with aligning with all big projects, or is the real benefits to focus on collaborating with smaller ones? And can you hear me?
I think I'll take that one, if you can hear me.
We hear you, Roy.
Wonderful.
If you want to go first, I'll jump in after.
Yeah, sure. So I think, so my sort of thinking on this, and perhaps this is my trader brain, I'm an abused victim of 3 cycles of the crypto markets now. So, we're always chasing the beta. And what that means is sometimes, when you see Pepe blast off, you're like, well, it's the market cap is too high. Let me go find something else. And so you're buying the real shit coins because you think you got the next Pepe. Sometimes it's actually better just to buy Pepe. But I guess the analogy here is, should you be working with top projects, or should you be working with smaller ones in terms of collaboration? I actually think that perhaps this sort of mentality is better applied when it comes to like business and collaboration and partnerships. In particular because I think the sort of way attention works in crypto is, of course, it's almost not always, but it's almost like a winner's take all system where you have these KOLs and they're the top KOLs, the top 10 or whatever. You got your Alex Beckers of the world, et cetera, and they command so much attention. They command so much hype. It can be very hard to reach these sorts of individuals. It can be hard to work with them sometimes, and they also have so much attention. They have an infinite amount of, I can work with this project, I can work with that project, and because they have so much choice, it can be hard to really show them and have them give you the time of day. If instead you are working with sort of mid-tier or lower tier, let's say, projects, this is really where you can have your eye for quality, because then you can actually pay attention. What are these guys doing? Have they been around for many years? What do they care about? It's very evident, historically you can see sort of, what runs in their mind, what they're tweeting about, what's their TL about, what do they like, that sort of thing. And then you can usually get into a conversation with them. I've had many, many good conversations in the past few months, with, a 5,000 follower account, for example. And we say, hey, we really like your content. We think you're going to be, great, in the future. We'd like to build a long-term collaboration, a long-term partnership with you. Let's do something, let's make something happen. And that's the same way with projects. I think if you are, everyone likes to see the big sort of collaboration, we're partnered with NVIDIA or whatever. And that's great. Do that, knock those things out if you can. But I think there definitely is always sort of room for finding quality, especially in crypto. This industry is there's a lot of information asymmetry. And if you do have that eye for quality and you know what you're looking for, you can certainly find individuals, partners, games, whatever it may be, investments, etc., that are just simply overlooked. It's not a completely priced-in system. It's not the SPX. This is crypto. So that's sort of my take on that.
I couldn't agree with you more. There's honestly too many sometimes. There's too many different investments out there, investors, and then when you're not looking at a actual all-in-one package, it can be a little bit on the confusing side. Roy, you definitely know your stuff, man. Mindless, go ahead.
I'll maybe jump in before Mindless, as I also raised my hand. That's cool with you, bro. Yeah, no, I absolutely love Roy. He's obviously always dropping some knowledge. I love it. Yeah, so in terms of the question, it totally, what's beautiful about Web3, I think, is that it's very different from obviously a lot of spaces, and I think that it all comes down to really what you're looking for or the values that you have with other communities, right? So I think that if you're a smaller project or whatever, obviously trying to aim for bigger communities or bigger projects, there's that benefit. But what's really beautiful is that smaller communities also have incredible upside as well, especially if it's the right one. And I've to Roy's point, some communities with 5,000 followers that he's reached out, there's a lot of value in that too, right? So I think it really depends on what you're looking for, the type of community. Some of the biggest projects, as many of us know from, other cycles that we've been a part of, not everyone sticks around, and I think some of the underdogs are the ones that are now quote unquote the big projects today. So you got to be mindful of that and just be, look for the ones that I think the question becomes longevity, right? Who's building for the long run? And obviously if a bigger project is crushing it and you see them being here over the next decade and you have a means of working with them, then by all means, but there's also so much value in some of the smaller projects. And I think that it all comes down to the connection and the value that you think that they have to bring and the values that are aligned between you and other parties, right? So, and that's to say, it's really cool, right? For instance, Beast League, our socials are very new, although we do have over 100,000 downloads. But just on a space yesterday, I'm just sitting here with Shrapnel, one of the top AAA games, whatever you want to call it, here in the space. But here, Beast League, we're just about to cross our first 1,000 followers here on Twitter. So it's just really cool because I find in the space that we're in, it doesn't always, it's not something that we always look at, and we're all still very early in the space and we're all trying to build this together. And, seeing that's what's really beautiful about the collaboration piece. I think some of the points that were raised here, but it doesn't really matter who you collaborate with at the end of the day, whether it's the same type of game or not. At the end of the day, we're all winning. You know, if I see Astronova winning, or I see Shadow War, or I see Style Protocol, or the list goes on, you know, some of the panelists we have here, we're all kind of contributing to the same space, and we're all essentially, it's a win-win for everyone. So definitely, you know, collaboration is super important, and the people you want to work with, you gotta be mindful of who you want to work with, depending on the values that they have, right? So whether it's a big project or a small project, I don't think it always matters. It's really, what are you building for? What are the values you have, and are you building for the long run, or are you just trying to take advantage of this key moment that we're in the cycle? So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, but I guess it really comes down to a balance, and what you're looking for and who you want to work with.
Yeah, it's got to be a right fit, and trying to collaborate with like a bunch of like big projects doesn't always have its benefits. I like the fact that people are a little bit more open-minded when there's like smaller projects, because they're learning just like you, and it's like you can kind of learn together, as well as like kind of like when you go to like IRL events and stuff like that, you can actually go exploring, meeting new different industries, that kind of thing. I think that's always like a big deal. I've been able to do that with a couple of the founders from a few projects, and that was a lot of fun, especially Miami, New York. That was a lot of fun. Vegas. Mindless, go ahead.
No, thanks. Some really great points there by Marcello and Roy. Similarly, like absolutely smashing it out of the park as always. The way I look at it, and I try to always, I mean, this makes sense to me. It's the human element. So if you're not there in the early stage or early life cycle of a project or a team, once they've scaled and they've built out and they've reached a sizable sort of position, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to touch base with that team or make that human connection then. Firstly, because they were at a time of sort of vulnerability and you were not there, or you're not taking out that time, or you ignored them, or perhaps you didn't know of them. And secondly, once they've scaled and they've reached maturity, they're just too busy. They're way, way, way too busy, rushed off their feet doing a million other things. So just trying to get some sort of contact in a team is nearly impossible, you know. And similarly, you might have a project that's just launched a year ago, but they've closed $100 million funding round. Yeah, good luck. Like they're just not interested. They're focusing on far, far bigger fish. They may already have an audience and a social footprint that's 100x what you have. And there's very little you're probably going to offer them. It sucks, I know, but that's just the way humans are, I'm afraid. And I think, and this is what we believe personally, is the value here in business is always in the early stages of anything. Like when the people, the businesses, the teams, the builders, the founders are still available. They're still networking. They're still in the space. They still need some sort of assistance. You can still make that contact. You can share ideas. You can bump heads. There's a little bit of a win-win situation somewhere in that journey. And you can make that contact and build relationships from there. And I truly believe that in and amongst these spaces, you can sort of pick 5 spaces on 5 days of the week related to Web3 gaming, and out of one of these somewhere will come, the future Epic Games, the future Blizzard Entertainments, the future Square Enixes. It's all right here. And you would probably do yourself a lot of disservice for missing that opportunity, 10 years from now when you look back at it, and you'll see some of the founders and teams that were right here in front of you. And all you had to do was just reach out and say, hey man, let's see what we can do.
Absolutely. You like turning down somebody because of the size of their follower count is that might be the next Steve Jobs or something. You know what I mean? You're absolutely right. And it's like, for a while there, I will say this much, like if someone had like 23 followers or something, I just wasn't really following back, and somebody said something and they had like 127,000 followers. They were like, those, in a lot of cases, you cannot look at someone's follower count. Now, if everything they post is just literally just reposts and shit, they're probably not doing anything of importance. But a lot of people that are heavy into Web2 business, or they own a company, they don't really go on Twitter that much because they don't have time. So they might not have that big of a following. But when you get to know them, you're like, oh, holy crap. Yeah, I didn't know you owned this entire industry. That's wild. Why don't you And it's like you're like wondering why they don't have as many followers. They don't give a crap about social media. So it's nice to meet these people. I think Twitter's like honestly one of the best ways to collaborate and meet new people, better than anything else. But that's the thing. I'm looking forward to meeting people in the metaverse and saying, hey, this is how I met this person, just to kind of like round things out. Cause I know we're getting close to the end of the hour. I was going to ask, do you feel it's necessary to invest in KOLs and influencers to push for brand recognition and exposure?
Yeah, this is a painful one. I'm going to sound like a real hypocrite here because we did utilize that ourselves, but personally, it's a tough one. I don't think it's something that applies to every project and team out there. I'm going to have a bit of a polarized view on this and say that if you need to go down that route, you're probably having some issues somewhere in your business cycle, and you're not able to make contact with that audience. And if this is what you have to rely on, you might need to go back and rethink some things. I think in the normal gaming space, it works if you have a great game and you're directly targeting that user. In the Web3 space, I think this group of KOLs might not necessarily be healthy for what you're trying to do. It's a different type. It's very value abstractive. It's very self-centered, and it's still fairly immature in its development cycle. You will be paying 100x what you'd normally pay for somebody with an audience that's 50 times the size of what they have here. Like that return on investment just isn't there either, in my opinion.
Yeah, honestly, right person for the right job. I think in all reality, if you've got a community that is bullish behind what you're building, they're going to tell everyone. And in all reality, we're at a point in time where there's no doubt about it. There's people that I think a lot of people, it was mentioned, I think by Roy, like you got someone like Alex Becker. People trust Alex Becker. He's been right about a lot of stuff. He's a smart guy. He's very sarcastic. He's charismatic. That's, that what I would say is that he is a key leader in the industry. But you do have a lot of people that have absolutely no loyalty to your brand. They don't care about what happens to your company. They don't care about the hours and hours that people have spent building it. So, like in a lot of cases, I think it is good to maybe like incentivize the community or incentivize other people that you're collaborating with. It just makes things fun. And as time progresses, I think we're going to see some really innovative ways. I love the social-fi that's come out of Web3. It's made doing things like Twitter a lot more fun. And it's gamification. Like, we're all into games. It's only natural that someone would actually be genius enough to make this gamified so you can get the word out there. And it's kind of like free marketing. So it's interesting how they've been able to integrate some of this stuff. We are hitting that 5 o'clock time, so we're going to close up shop. But I do appreciate all of you coming in today. You guys are freaking amazing. Bunch of rock stars in here, as well as everybody listening in the crowd. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody that liked and reposted the space. Next week, we're going to be discussing a very important topic that I actually have questions about and I've been researching about. And that's going to be some hot games, cold wallets. Is there some cold wallets out there that are better than the Ledger? Because I fucking hate that thing. Pardon my English. I hate Ledger more than you could ever imagine. And now they're going to be like, hey, we want to partner with you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like the larger one and I like the stacks, but they're never in stock, so you can't buy it. I'm interested to see if anybody else has tried different cold wallets or different forms of wallets that they find to be beneficial. And he's a very busy guy, but I'm going to see if my buddy Michael K is able to stop by and give us a little bit of knowledge from Wallet Guard. So I cannot thank you guys enough. If you guys if you guys can, make sure you definitely comment below, and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.